And we are back with you with Wake Forest University law professor Marie-Amélie George and Guilford Works executive director Chris Rivera. They're answering your questions about new jobs and also about unemployment issues. You can text them your question, the number right there at the bottom of your screen, 336-379-5775. All right, let's go back to unemployment issues. This person is saying, how can you prove when filing for unemployment that it is COVID related?
So the state is asking you whether it is COVID related because that makes you eligible for pandemic unemployment assistance as opposed to state unemployment insurance. So it's a question of which programs benefits you're going to get. You can put in an explanation as to why it is that you were laid off and that it was COVID related. It's helpful if you have additional information that you can provide the state, any sort of documentation from your employer, an email they sent you, a text message, letter. If they've posted on their website that they have closed because of COVID related concerns or because in response to the governor's orders, that would all be proof that you were laid off for COVID related reasons.
Mm-hmm. It's not like you have a certain piece of paper or something like that that says you've been laid off due to COVID.
No, and you don't need a paper that says you specifically were laid off because of COVID. If you can show that there were layoffs because of COVID and you were laid off in that time period, the state will infer that it was because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chris, this person is asking, do you have jobs for people who are disabled?
Yes and yes. So all of the jobs and employers that we represent throughout Guilford County have various hiring needs. We work with individuals able-bodied and or disabled. For those that require accommodation, when our staff are working with them and we're looking to refer them to employers, we certainly will make that known to the employer, specifically if there are special accommodations that are needed. So I'd say that we have occupations and jobs across, industries that can be beneficial or available to almost any individual in our community.
Mm-hmm. In our first segment, we talked about 2 hiring events that were happening in Guilford County. We also want to showcase some hiring events that are happening in Forsyth County. For instance, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools is holding a drive-through job fair on Friday from 9:30 until 12:30. This is at Parkland High School, and this is kind of what Chris was alluding to, that there's a whole bunch of different kinds of jobs out there. This is everything from bus drivers to painters to HVAC technicians to custodial staff to groundskeepers and much more. Again, this is a drive-through job fair this Friday for Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. This is one of at least 5 kind of hiring events that we know of just in Forsyth County and also in Guilford County as well. We've got UPS, and then we've got that virtual job fair that has a whole list of different employers.
Yeah, so that large job fair happening in High Point is probably about 16, 17 employers. It's actually a drive-through job fair. We did one of those in Greensboro a week or so ago, and had about 20 employers present. We had about 150 members of that East Greensboro community show up. It was really, really impactful. So individuals are certainly encouraged to come out to the one at High Point. Lots of employers.
This person is kind of following up with a text question. Are all job fairs drive-through fairs now, and how do they work exactly?
Yeah, so it's a very, very, very safe way to gather people to connect with, employment opportunities. Certainly a good way for us to bring talent to hiring employers. In essence, what it is that it's an open air event. Employers typically set up tents. Individuals can drive up to the tent, speak with a representative. They are also able to park their cars as long as they're wearing masks and to go and engage with the employers. So opposed to being in large facilities like we've historically done, the whole job fairs, we find it very safe and responsible to hold them outside, and drive-through is the new recruiting mechanism.
It's interesting how Chris, this will morph along. Go ahead, Marie-Amélie.
I'm just curious, if you don't have a car, can you walk through the drive-through fair?
Absolutely. As long as individuals are, maintaining responsible social distances, they're more than welcome to walk up to the tent and speak with that representative.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. This person is asking an employer question. Can an employer deny your application if the applicant does not want to submit their age, graduation year, or social security number?
Yeah, technically the employer could. If it's part of the application process and an applicant refuses to supply that information for consideration, then yes, the employer could potentially not process that application. It will be encouraged that if an individual that's submitting information for employment is not comfortable submitting that information via email or online, to reach out to that hiring employer and to explore other options to communicate the necessary information to them.
All right, this is an unemployment issue question, and if you missed the first segment, Marie-Amélie George is a Wake Forest law professor, and they have a pro bono project going on which allows you to email them directly, and then a group is able to help work on your case, give you information to help solve what's going on. This person says, what does a person do when the unemployment won't send the denial letter? And I'm not really sure what they're getting at there.
I'm not entirely sure either. Usually when DES makes a decision, on the online portal, there will be a copy of the letter and they will also mail it to you. And if it's a denial, it's important for them to actually send it out and to post it because you only have 10 days to appeal. So if there's a reason for you to think that you've been denied, but there's no actual letter issued, you should contact DES and find out what's going on. And the best way to do that is to use the chat function on their website.
Okay. All right, we're going to continue to take your questions on new jobs and unemployment. We're going to be talking about some Amazon jobs that are now up for you to be able to have, and how do you get them? That's all coming up in our next segment.